2021, already better than 2020. Why? Not because of Godzilla vs. Kong, not because of those Marvel Disney Plus series. I mean, sure, we got the greatest movie ever made, Space Jam: A New Legacy, and I don't have to speak for myself. But we got the comeback of an underrated series that's really kick-ass. Hello everyone, it's me, InTheEnd, and I'm back again for a very special review, at least for me. Today's video will be my first time talking about a sequel to a series, and not just any series, but also the sequel to one of my favorite anime in the past 5 years, but also the anime to my first review on this channel. Yes, it is the return of our zombie waifus in the second season of Zombie Land Saga, also known as Zombie Land Saga Revenge. Kind of a random title, but actually it's pretty freaking cool. Wait, here comes the best part of the song. That was lit. I can't tell you how excited I was when I heard that ZombieLand Saga was coming back this year. I was on the verge of tears, man. And seeing these characters again at least one more time was enough to put me in a good mood for the rest of the year. I don't normally ask for much, but this does put a smile on my face. Well, without further ado, let's go ahead and review the second season to my most anticipated anime of this year, ZombieLand Saga Revenge. As I stated in my first review, ZombieLand Saga was and still is a very fun anime with a very creative premise and colorful characters, and till this day, I still recommend it if you have not watched it. I had basically jumped into the second season without rewatching the first one, which was not a bad decision because seeing all these characters again was so nostalgic, nothing had changed and it felt like I was right back at home. All their personalities and quirks did not change at all, and it felt like I was catching up with an old friend, and that is just a feeling that I grasped for since 2020 has come and gone. There's one thing about the anime that I need to address that may turn you off. ZombieLand Saga is still an idol anime, and an idol anime is an anime focusing on Japanese pop music. Meaning there's a ton of Japanese pop music. In Japanese, of course. So if this anime doesn't seem interesting to you, then it may not be your cup of tea. But the music can actually be really catchy. I mean, look at me. I listen to this music on a daily basis, and I turned out perfectly fine. Still here? Well, let's continue with the video. And don't worry about spoilers. There's nothing that happens in the second season that ruins the first one. But for the fans out there, let me go ahead and say that the weakest part about the second season is the story. It's not the greatest, and it's not the worst. It's just not executed well. You know how in sequels and continuations the characters will talk about something that happened in the past that they know about but we don't, and they bring it up so that the audience knows what's going on? Well, that's what they do here. Let me think of an example. Remember in episode 9 when they talked about how the Emperor came back? Yeah, they totally explained that shit. The first episode starts off by showing us that the girls in the band are all in debt. We don't know why, and I assume it's because of a big concert that they had in the first season, but it turns out it is because of a big concert that they had in between seasons that we never saw. Sure, they explained the majority of it by the end, but it still felt confusing, and even by the second episode, it really felt like nothing has changed at all. But because of the confusing plot, this is still something that you cannot just jump right into. You have to have watched the first season to at least know the majority of the characters and what's going on. But even with some confusing plot points, the show is still as fun as it was in the first season, and it makes up for it with its presentation. Or what I mean is... presentation! That's better. Besides the creative premise, the characters are still the best thing about the series. This time, every character has enough screen time to stand out, and each one has at least one episode dedicated to their backstory in some way. Well, maybe except Tai, but she does get an episode about her, and I'm not gonna spoil it because it's quite legendary and super funny. And Yugiri finally gets her backstory explained, not in 1, but 2 episodes, so hey, I say she deserves it after being totally forgettable in the last season. Well, except for this part. Besides the main cast, the side characters are also memorable, including the new and some of the returning. Yes, these guys are back, showing that they are the greatest fans ever. They even introduced a new girl that's supposed to be one of the new members of the band. It's kind of random, but you know, I'll let it pass, because as they say, there's always room for family. Everything has improved in the second season. The first season was funny, but god damn, the second season is out of control. With jokes left and right that had me pausing the episode to catch my breath, this is for sure one of the funniest animes this year.
Help me!
The animation has improved drastically as well. It also looks great during the musical numbers because it's not like they were going to use the CGI again, right? Right? Okay, they bring back the CGI for the season, but it is way better than it was years ago, or 5 years ago. As I stated in my first review, the CGI dance sequences in the first season are the worst part about ZombieLand Saga. And though it is not the best thing, the CGI in Season 2 is way better to stomach through, because the CGI in Season 1 was painful to watch. Also, remember in Season 1 when the girls win Ultra Instinct? They do that shit again here, and it is 10 times more epic. The anime has ascended. What makes these zombie waifus so important and special is that they're not waifus, they are characters. They are treated as characters. Does this second season make the series the greatest show ever made? Unfortunately no. But for what it ends up being, it is an absolute joyride that's main focus is to put a smile on your face. Seeing these funny girls try and become a band leads to some of the most wholesome scenes and moments that anime was made for. Ironically, the ending feels so triumphant and rewarding that it almost feels bittersweet, but still beautiful, and it almost feels like it's the ending to the series. But by the end, you can't help but get wrapped up with everything and enjoy the anime for how far it's come. It also almost feels like we're in the endgame, sort of. And yes, that's the last Marvel joke I make. ZombieLand Saga Revenge is available on Crunchyroll and Funimation, and as of right now, Funimation is also releasing their dub episodes on their website, so I do recommend checking out the dub because it's actually not that bad. The voice actors do a great job of capturing the personalities of the characters really well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope my review convinced you to give ZombieLand Saga a chance. Trust me, it is an awesome show. I hope to see you in my next video. Have an awesome day and stay frosty. If you excuse me, I'm gonna go jam out to more idol music.